What's up, dudes? Welcome back to Grand Prix World. Feeling a little bit better than last time we spoke, which is always good. I've forgotten though what we did, so I'm going to go through everything with you and we'll press on a little bit. Something I want to talk to you about before we go any further is I'm I've just tried to prepare, but it hasn't worked out, so I'm going to give it a try again after I've done today's episode. I've prepared sort of or will be preparing a sort of quick look at the EA Sports F1 Manager, which some people view as better than Grand Prix World. I'm going to tell you that they are objectively wrong. The game lacks so much of the depth and skill requirement that you see in Grand Prix World. It's a far less immersive simulator when it comes to the day-to-day operations of the team and negotiations and so on. However, it is way more stable than Grand Prix World on modern machines, and the race presentation is fully 3D TV style presentation. It's got some of the charm of Grand Prix World in that drivers switch between teams. It is all fully licensed, so I'm going to put together a quick look at that. But I'll lay it out for you really quick. It wouldn't affect Grand Prix World if we did a playthrough of that, and it wouldn't be as frequent as Grand Prix World because obviously there's a time investment there. The other factor is it's a much less collaborative kind of playthrough, in the sense that negotiations for sponsors and suppliers are very much for example, sponsors, the dictating factor is, do you have a sponsor on your car already that does the same thing? So you can't have two drink manufacturers, for example. If you have, let's say, Pepsi, and then you try and negotiate with, I don't know, another brand of Pepsi, whatever, they won't sign with you simply because they're competing on the same car with a rival. Other than that, if you want a sponsor, you only have to ask. There's no negotiation. There are also no works or partner deals, and there is no tyre war. So everyone has Bridgestone engines. I'm very sorry. Bridgestone tyres, and when it comes to your engine, you basically click on the supplier you want, and they send you a quotation. And then you can sort of haggle with them a little bit, but what I find is generally you tender an offer, they ask for $1 million more, and then you meet kind of halfway. And you just have to decide if that's going to be in your budget, which isn't necessarily a challenge. You just have to click on the right sponsor at the right time. Likewise with your driver negotiations, unlike Grand Prix World, where there is a benefit if you're not dealing with pay drivers to taking a risk and seeing if you can get a bargain towards the end of the season, there is no benefit in doing that in F1 Manager. I'm not sure if driver stats change year on year, but you can of course monitor drivers' form throughout the season. However, most drivers get snapped up first 2 rounds, so you might as well sign the drivers you want. You tend to know who you want anyway. If you are sort of a Jordan Benetton kind of level, then you're gunning for drivers around the Mika Salo, Heinz-Harald Frentzen kind of level. And you'll go for drivers based on that. You know in advance not to try and sign someone like Schumacher or Hakkinen because they're going to be too expensive. If you've got a very strong sponsorship package which takes zero effort, then yeah, absolutely, go wild, sign whoever you want. But there's not that development over a single season, and there's not that overall development between seasons. There's no factory management. Technology research is very limited. It's basically only bodywork improvements, and your relationship with your suppliers is not, I don't think it's even a factor. I think you have a relationship with sponsors, but even then the effect seems fairly minimal. But as I say, there is an immersive TV camera kind of style that might be interesting for some of you, and I know Grand Prix World can be a little bit hard to follow when we're doing race coverage or qualifying coverage because you're looking at a tiny corner of the screen on on a YouTube video. It's not a full picture experience. I think maybe there's an option to make it like that, but then it takes away my controls if I remember correctly. So yeah, as always, throw your comments down below. I mean, it doesn't hurt to dabble in it a little bit, I suppose. And I can't iterate enough that it will not affect Grand Prix World if we do it, but it will affect other content. But if you're only here for the F1 stuff, then maybe that's your bag. I'm enjoying the F1 stuff. I think it's getting the best response out of anything I've done, and I'm still sort of finding my niche, and if this is my niche, then it's a good niche to have. Right, all that talk out of the way. Let's see what's going on. We already did the news apparently because we're on the last page. And we lost 476,000 last round, but I would expect that. I tell you what, I saw I had comments and I haven't checked them, so let me go check the comments and then we'll act on what you guys were saying. See you soon. Welcome back. So, many questions. One question from a guy whose name was just letters. Why don't I download the English version of this game? Yeah, it probably is abandonware. Maybe there's a version somewhere. I hadn't stumbled across one I trusted. But if you find a link, then by all means, knock yourself out. However, I live in Germany. I work in German day to day, so it's no biggie for me. And we're talking in English, and I'm passing the detail along. If it's really driving you crazy, then I can look into it. But we're partway through Season 2 now, so it would mean restarting, which I think is probably unnecessary. Vince, you had a question, and I'm here to help. So your question was, how do you fire a driver? What you do is, you see, even though we've hired Shinji till 2001, you go ahead and tender an offer to someone else. So let's send this offer to our test driver. Alright, he doesn't accept. Let's hire some no-mark bastard who'll work for free. Yep. And there. He can start now, he can start 2000. Either case, we're dropping him before the end of his contract. Obviously, what that means is he won't work with us, possibly ever again, but I think usually his anger at you dissipates. But if you terminate his contract early, you can't sign him again the year after, so you have to be aware you're kind of burning a bridge. There's also a chance he'll sue you and you get hit in the pocket. It's very hard to kind of advise you how much it's going to cost you to fire a driver, so because you're not doing a playthrough on YouTube probably, I would advise you to just save scum it. If a driver really isn't performing, or you've got serious morale issues that won't go away like we're experiencing, I think it's perfectly legitimate, particularly if a better driver or a cheaper driver comes on the market that you think you can get more out of, it's perfectly legitimate to drop drivers early. It happens in real F1 all the time. I mean, Jarno Trulli, the year he retired, he didn't plan on that being his retirement year from F1. He thought he'd been told and it had been announced that he had a seat with Caterham the following season, but they binned him off anyway. Again, I'd avoid making any snap decisions at the start of the season. I think if you've got a multi-year deal, I think it's fair to say you should always give them a season to kind of settle in. I think there's a benefit to consistency. It doesn't settle the rest of your team as well. I think it can hit the morale of your other drivers and the team in general, so your design department or whatever. I'm not actually 100% sure about that, but I think it's in there. There will be disadvantages to dropping a driver before his term is up, but again, it's not a decision most players will make lightly anyway. But yeah, there you go. I hope that was helpful. So my understanding from the comments was most of you are quite happy to go ahead with Texaco, but we should wait and see if we can tie down that Ferrari deal. I think that's probably very wise because, what you've obviously reflected upon is that if the Ferrari deal gets snatched away from us, we could take a partner supply and still feel the benefit of that fuel, but we might decide to go for a slightly less polished engine, and then the benefits of picking that fuel kind of kind of negated somewhat by the fact that it's not very good at tolerating. That's not even a sentence. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at speaking to you. The motor tolerance effect of the fuel and the lubricants becomes more important the rougher the engine is. Let's look at it that way. So I didn't see, and forgive me if I've missed something, but I didn't see any feedback on what we should do here. So I'm taking that to mean it's executive decision time. Let's take a look at the levels of wear. First thing is car 4. I'm going to give to Denise if it ever lets me, and we're going to give. I think we're going to give car 2 to Nakano because even though it's more worn, it's got less damage, and damage is a bigger factor than wear. Can we build a driver aid and a spare part? I think the answer to that question is no. Oh no, it's okay. So even though it's technically smarter to build more than one spare part here, I'm going to build one spare part and I'm going to get the active suspension on the car. Because for the sake of an extra 32,500, what we've already spent in developing that equipment, I think it's time to do something about it. That means we won't test this round. I think that's perfectly fine. I know the drivers won't be a fan of it, but they're not a fan of much. So he'll be running with 62% wear. Not very sexy, I appreciate, but that's what's going to happen. On the design front, the design is legal, and we've got a bit of a jump start, which is always good. The floor package for the B spec of this year's car is coming along quite nicely as well. Technology we'll see after this turn, and we now have active suspension level 1. Always good. Something the more eagle-eyed of you will note is if you take a look at tyre specifications, there is a number 2 spec hard tyre from Bridgestone that they've developed, but we don't have access to it because we don't get any upgrades under this deal. So it might have been better for us to have taken that customer supply and used the extra time to negotiate upgrades. But hey ho, that's how the cookies crumble. We're taking Danka, Ferrari and Castrol to the next round because Bridgestone are still not available to attend a race with us. We have 0 sponsors for next season, so that's a bit shit. The departments are all full and relatively happy, it's just the drivers that are miserable. Last time out we got a double points finish. I'd love to be able to imply that we could do that again, but the cars are badly worn. So I'm expecting a possible non-finish. Deniz is going on to the soft compound tyre. I'm keeping the Kano on the soft compound as well. I think we definitely saw in Australia, and I think the soft compound has proven better at every round, but I could be mistaken on that. Either way, are they? Yeah, I'll put them both on the soft compound. I'm sure the hard compound has its place, but given this is a track that I think the benefit is there to having them both on soft. Okay, let's smash it. Seventh and eighth, not bad, not bad. Again, I'm starting to think that we could be picking up higher places if we manually controlled, but whatever. We were fractions of a tenth with both drivers off Esteban Tuero's Benetton and Heinz Harald-Frenzen's Ferrari, so and we're within a tenth of 4th position. Actually, it's very close in that little cluster. Benetton have finally taken the leap that we suspected they would. Maybe they've got a second spec of the Works Mercedes engine out already. That partner Ford McLaren, David Coulthard taking second, and the partner Ford Williams taking third with Michael Schumacher. Damon Hill is not working very well with that Williams. He's been outqualified by his teammate convincingly again. We've also outqualified one of the McLarens, so the field is kind of messed up. Tyrrell are back where we thought they would be. Still surprised to see Minardi down at the back there, and Stewart seemed to have closed the gap to Prost, because Prost obviously have been running around relatively on their own. Fisichella has a bad day in the office at Sauber, and Jordan still in the same ballpark. So, I mean, we can't really argue with that. We're taking big steps actually for a one season in. I think 7th and 8th is. I think we can be happy if we qualify every race 7th and 8th. That means a little bit of attrition and we get points. So happy days. Right, strategy time. I'm just going to make sure that everyone's on fresh tyres every stint. I'm not going to use any cycled tyres. I know there is benefit to running with heat cycled tyres, but I just like to make sure they've got the maximum grip available at all times. So, stopping lap 21 and 42 with Nakano and 20 and 41 with Diniz. So Diniz is getting preferential strategy, arguably, but he does have that longer stint at the end. Let's smash it. And it's a double non-finish. Diniz made a driver error, and we had a component failure on Shinji Nakano's car. To be expected, the car has got very serious reliability problems, but Jordan did pick up a point. I'm sorry, I just realised I skipped through the results there, but we'll see what's what in the news. So Schumacher won for Williams. Eddie Irvine must have not held on to that position. We made a massive profit, by the way. Ferrari has a team sponsor contract with East. We had a nightmare, yes we did. Both Ferraris in the top 6. Eddie Irvine got the fastest lap, so I still think the Benetton's the car to beat, really. Adrian Newey has gone to Williams. That's a bit of a coup for them. McLaren have signed Intercond from us. Williams have signed Ventura. Both Benetton drivers had a fantastic start. That means they're running traction control, so we should keep an eye out for that. Carl Gaden has signed for Williams. That's another good signing for them. We didn't test, and we're the worst manager again. Ungrateful bastards. Let's take a look at the sponsor situation, see if we've made any progress. A little bit of progress with Castrol. Danker are not interested in giving us much money this season. Still no progress with Bridgestone, and yeah, we're close to a partner deal with Ferrari, but the works could be a late season grab. So again, things are going a little bit slow for us. I might take a look at upping our spend again on hospitality, but I'm pleased to see that we're making a profit, which I didn't expect. That could tail off dramatically in the late season, so I am going to always make sure I've got sort of 2 to 3 million in hand, but I think we can work with this. Esso's relationship with us has improved. Mugen Honda's has gone backwards. Tommy Hilfiger has stayed the same, I think. Intercon we've lost 2 points from. Danker fallen out with us for no reason I can think of, and Castrol absolutely love us. So hopefully that deal concludes quite quickly. We'll up our spend to level 4. And then we'll take a look in the design office, see how things are going there. Okay, so the first stage of our B-Spec chassis is complete. I'm going to put 30% onto this now, since progress is quite swift, and I'm going to make sure we get the best chassis possible for next season. On the technology front, slow progress. I'm guessing we've taken a morale hit, which sucks. Let's take a look at the state of the cars. 84.7, 91.4. You bad boys. So how many spare parts am I going to have to ruin for you? 6 to get the cars into perfect condition, which obviously isn't happening. Let's take a look at how much efficiency we're getting out right now and how much it costs to improve our technology. So 31% of our staff to get that reliability upgrade on the car. Each upgrade is 23, so we could build, if my maths are right, 3 spare parts would be, don't help me out, 69%. Ooh, that would be exact. If my maths is wrong, you're all laughing at me now, but I don't care. I'm going to assume that that's fine. I've made the decision now. And what we're going to do is certainly get the damage off Pedro Deniz's car. I'm reluctant again because this means... Actually, no, we can test because the cars aren't 100% damaged. Okay, so we're going to run a test program because we've made money. I'm not going to spend $500,000 on testing though. You can get to fuck. We'll do 200 miles of testing, so they get 100 miles each, and we'll put that on setup and development work. We'll give them 15% of the mechanics and hope that doesn't screw up our repair strategy. And actually Nakano can't test anyway, so that's good news. Okay, we've got full setup bonus, so that's excellent news, and we've got a reliability upgrade on the car, so I'm relatively happy with that. The cars are all fucked, but what are you going to do? We'll get the damage off Deniz's car, and then they've got 1 spare part apiece for cars 4 and 2. Actually, we're going to have to put Nakano in car 3 because he's too damaged. So, and then we're not going to deploy any more upgrades until the cars are in better condition. That's all we can really manage. Because I don't want to keep running the cars with this high level of wear. 61% wear going into a race is too much. It was a waste of spare parts as well because we still need 4 to get the cars in perfect condition before we've even looked at damage. If we keep making this profit, I'll probably put out a new chassis. Very, very wasteful, I know. It's not good strategy, but it'll have to happen. All the sponsors are still coming along to our party. It's not a great circuit for endearing them to us, but whatever. It's a good time to sell some of the team, but I don't think it's necessary. I think then, by my reckoning, it's time to run another round. Heat, brakes, speed and acceleration, I think, are consistent benefits. Do I risk it for another heat point? It seems to be suggesting I should, but I will... I'll set it for slack wind. So again, we're running identical setups. We don't have a preference between them right now. What I will do though is I think I'm going to put Deniz back on the hard compound tyre. There's not another compound. Okay, they've both got active suspension fitted, which I think helped in qualifying. We're now going to look at the Benettons for a traction control system we can steal. Our closest rivals are surprisingly McLaren and Ferrari, so we're going to look at McLaren in the race. Go. 6th and 8th, and Deniz has outqualified a Benetton on the hard compound tyre, and he's within scratching distance of the back of Eddie Irvine's Benetton. McLaren seem to have found some time somewhere because they're in the 120s, and Coulthard on a 120.682 takes pole from John Newhouse on a 120.936. Michael Schumacher in the Williams outqualifies Damon Hill again, both in the low 121s though. Eddie Irvine is not far behind, and then Deniz takes 6th, Esteban Tuero on a 121.188 on 7th, ahead of Shinji Nakano, Arrows 121.199, and we are 0.002 of a second, or 0.02 of a second, ahead of Heinz Alfredson's Ferrari. He's outqualified Barrichello, which I think could be for the first time this season actually. So we're ahead of the Ferraris, which is encouraging. Stewart are back down with Minardi, and Prost are mixing up with the Tyrrells, so it's all shifty around the back. Jordan and Sauber are sticking to each other like glue. Let's talk strategy. Fresh tyres for Deniz as always, and he's going to do a 33-32 split. I always like to have the shorter run at the end. I know that's potentially preventing a smart undercut manoeuvre that I would be able to pull off if I was watching the race live, but you know, I like to get content out to you fairly regularly. 22-22-1, I think that sounds good. Be good to me. You weren't good to me. You were not good to me. Engine failure for Shinji Nakano is a very high attrition race, only 11 finishes, and a clutch problem for Deniz. The win goes to John Newhouse in the McLaren, second Heinz Alfredson Ferrari. The Benettons of Eddie Irvine and Esteban Tuero take 3rd and 4th, and 5th goes to Jordan. The last point is claimed for Ferrari by Rubens Barrichello. We're really being hit by these unreliability problems. Yeah, we've got some ground to make up. Sauber within touching distance, but Williams are already burning off into the distance, so I don't think the Constructors is really doing us justice right now. We've made a massive profit again, and it's Monaco now, so I'm going to do Monaco this episode. I know it means it's a little bit of a longer one, but I think there's benefit to doing so. Damage on the cars again. Sponsors first, Ben. Sponsors first. Again, no progress with Ferrari, so they're talking to some other bastard. No progress with anybody. No progress with anybody at all. This is bad, bad news. Okay, maximum spending, and let's see if we can bin off Danker in favour of Bridgestone. No, we can't. Okay. So we have to stick to that strategy. That really sucks. Williams have signed Buzzing Hornets. John Newhouse won the race, apparently. I don't remember that. I thought it went to someone else, but no. David Coulthard took pole, which we already covered. Another nightmare for us. Both Benettons in the top 6. Both Ferraris make the top 6. Giancarlo Fisichella has re-signed for Sauber. Shinji Nakano pulled the fastest lap of the last race. So, see, there is pace in the car. There is definitely pace in the car. I think Monaco, especially given the profit we made, could be an excuse to deliver a new chassis. I really do. Benetton have signed Fonmetal. Ferrari will be sponsored by PlayStation, and McLaren have signed with Universal Studios. Alan Prost is the worst manager. I don't know. And there's claims of espionage on the last race, which there was because we were doing it. But so were all the others. They started it. I'm going to see if I can't strengthen the commercial team because they are not doing well for us. So I'm going to make some hirings and firings there. Design team, I don't think there's any need to change the balance there. They seem to be doing quite well. Construction, we could probably do with some help. In the design office, almost done with stage 1 there. Stage 2 of the B-spec chassis is complete, so we're on to the model stage. That's excellent progress. Technology has slowed to a crawl. That's an issue. That is an issue. I'm also concerned we won't get any testing done this round. Let's see what our construction capacity is like. 23% for a spare part. We can build 4 spare parts. 53% to build a new car. God, if only that was 50%. 53% leaves 47, so we could build 2 spare parts and a new car. And I think that could be what we do. That could be what we do. We've made enough money this round to cover it, and we've got an excess in our budget. We have 3 race-ready cars. We can only test with 2 of them. I think we need the settle points this round. I think we do. So we're going to do 250 miles of testing. Deniz will split 80-20. Nakano will be 70-30. No testing for the test driver. And hopefully they can fill up this bar for us. Close. But we've got the settle points that we need. That's the main thing. Okay, so we're building a new car, and controversially, I'm going to give this car to Nakano. He pulled the fastest lap. He's running the soft compound tyre. I think he's got the legs to do this, and he's just had bad luck. I think if we provide him a fresh chassis, he's got every chance of finishing a race. So how's that for some faith? Let's do some repairs. Okay, car 1 goes to Shinji Nakano. Car 4 stays with Deniz. And we're going to leave the damage on his car, and we're going to repair the wear. Accidental rhyme. I did mean that, didn't I, car 4? Yes. Was it? Yes, it was. I'm so useless. There we go. Okay, so we have 2 cars that are basically in perfect condition. 2% damage I can kind of handle, although it is suboptimal. Deniz is going to run the hard compound tyre, and he tends to make that strategy work quite well. I'm going to stop the video for a second to save the game. As always, once Monaco's done, we'll be at the end of the video, and if there's anything you've seen in this episode that you'd like me to work on, if you'd like to change anything, then again, don't be shy. Slam the comments down below. Always happy to talk to you guys, and we'll take some decisions. I'm concerned about the sponsorship situation. I'm sure you guys are as well. And the reason I'm doing Monaco is because that has the biggest effect on our relationships, and it might just push that Ferrari deal a little bit closer to our grasp. Maybe Castrol as well. Danker I have a bad feeling about. But we've reached a point where if we started new negotiations this round, taking those people to Monaco wouldn't provide any benefit at all, and our other potential partner, Bridgestone, won't actually attend, so we might as well drop the cash, take Danker, and just see if we can't kickstart that deal. If we can't, we've not really lost anything, we've just wasted the first 6 rounds. Bit of a habit. Back in a sec. Okay, welcome back. Something I want to check quick. Have we got any upgrades? We've got a new specification hard compound tyre. That changes everything. That changes literally everything. I'm going to put both of them on the hard compound tyre because the grip level's full. The temperature level looks pretty good. I could have done with a new power unit for Mugen, but I'm not expecting one because they're not obliged in the contract. And this makes me glad actually we've got the active suspension out as well, because that has some effect on your tyres too. I'm paranoid that I've missed something, but I don't think I have, so let's run this race. Oh, we found something here. Level 1 traction control. Benetton. Copy that shit. Was that successful? I didn't read the dialogue. My voice is going. It was successful. We can't build it this round, but we can get it homologated. Yeah, that's officially allowed. They didn't even notice that we copied it. That's excellent. So when we've got capacity, we can stick a traction control system on, and there's a gain to be had there. Sneaky, sneaky spying. Okay, I'm going to leave them on 2. That seems to be the sweet spot for avoiding accidents and reducing wear on the cars. That's still important, even though we're running a new chassis for Nakano. So I'm going to leave that as it is. Setup. 2 on acceleration, 1 on speed, still important, 1 on brakes, and wind or heat. Could rain. I'm going to go on heat. And again, they're still getting equal treatment because there's not much between them. And they're both going to have the second specification of the Bridgestone hard compound. It's the right thing to do. As for our spying efforts, we're going to keep looking at Benetton and we're going to check for servo brakes. Good luck, everyone. This is where it counts. I would love to have that traction control system on for this track, but nothing we could have done, literally nothing we could have done, so I don't know why I'm blaming myself. Please don't rain. 7th and 11th, we can work from that. Remember, they're all probably running the soft compound tyre at this track. They really are. It makes me think I should have given the new chassis to Deniz, but I honestly believe that Nakano should consistently be the faster driver. Even though statistically, on the speed level, Deniz has 2 points to Nakano's 1. My experience in this game is Nakano can develop very quickly into a passable driver. I've won championships with him. This game, Deniz has been just sensational. Maybe I should learn to have a bit more faith in him. But either way, it's a decent result. I'm a little bit concerned that Nakano was out-qualified by Jordan, but I imagine Wirtz was running that soft compound. And maybe they got the upgrade from Mugen Honda that we haven't. Minardi is still languishing down at the back. The gap to Stewart is still around 2 to 4 tenths. Prost are back relatively on their own, although they're only 2 seconds off the back of the Tyrrell with Mika Hakkinen, who seems to have found his groove a little bit. He's no longer being out-qualified by Marini. Sauber and Jordan are locked together in a weird love, I was going to say a triangle, but that requires 3 participants. John Newhouse takes pole for McLaren Ford, 1:20.257. Williams Ford takes second with Michael Schumacher. David Coulthard, McLaren Ford, 1:24.06 on third. Very close between those two. 3 actually, with Heinz-Harald Frenzen's Ferrari ever so slightly behind the McLaren. Ferrari, of course, running Ford power as well. Benetton Mercedes, Eddie Irvine takes 5th, and 6th goes to Rubens Barrichello, Ferrari Ford. Very close. Very close. All within a tenth. All in the same tenth, those guys. We're 2 tenths off with Deniz, but that's actually less than the gap we would expect to see with the hard compound. So I believe we could have taken second there. If we'd been in manual control and on the soft compound tyre, I believe we could have probably got Deniz on second. Maybe not, maybe even first. But the key here is the strategy. Does this minute difference negate a pit stop? And I don't think it does. Dry, 23 degrees. 23 degrees is good news for us and our measly engine power. So, fresh boots for the Nizzard, and 39.39. I'm going to put him 40.37, or 40.38 even. I trust him to do that long first stint, I really do. Where we'll stick Nakano on 39.39. I know a lap doesn't sound like a difference, but the simulation, it's edge of the seat stuff, man. 39.39. Let's do it. Well, we got a point. 6th and 7th, not quite the success I was hoping for. We finished 4 seconds down the road on the Benettons. But I will take a point and a double finish. That means we haven't picked up any damage at least, or we shouldn't have done. John Newhurst? Who's that? John Newhouse, McLaren Ford, takes it from pole to the finish. 1:49.59.811. So he's pretty well 13 seconds down the road from Michael Schumacher's Williams Ford in second. Podium's rounded off by David Coulthard, and the Benettons take the other 2 point scoring positions. Not much attrition that round. Both Minardis were out. We lost one of the Ferraris to a driver error. A suspension failure for Damon Hill's Williams. He's having a terrible season. Brake failure on the Lace's Jordan, and driver error for Montoya in the Tyrrell. I had hoped for more. We could have done with getting a hospitality or a success advantage to throw at Ferrari from this, but I doubt we've picked either of those up. Still, that hard compound tyre looks really good, so the deficiency is somewhere else. Maybe it's how I deployed the setup points wasn't optimal. Maybe we just need to get the B-spec of the car out to sort of close the gap a little bit. I imagine all those 3 teams actually have, if they've played optimally, should have put their B-spec chassis out for this race. Normally it's around 5 or 6 that the teams with good economic capacity can put out an upgrade package. So maybe we were racing against some B-spec cars and didn't really stand a chance. Diniz takes 9th in the Drivers' Championship. It's very close at the top though, with 3 points separating the top 4. Schumacher from Barrichello, from Frentzen, from Newhouse. In the Constructors, Ferrari 49 points in the lead, McLaren second with 37 points, Benetton take third with 27 points. We're still 4 points behind Sauber, but I don't see us now without a incredible run of good fortune taking 4th, but I think 5th should be our goal. It's 1 place higher than last year, and I think it's still not really a fair reflection of where the car is, but we have reliability problems that we have to address. And as unfair as it is, given how good the car seems to be in certain conditions, reliability is arguably the most important element in winning a championship. So, maybe we get what we deserve. Before I finish up, let's take a look at the sponsor situation. And it's bad. It is bad, though we do have a partner deal available for Ferrari. I'm going to press on for that work because it's only 3 more points, but we need to start signing some bastard. And we've also got a customer deal now to fall back on for Bridgestone, though it does cost the best part of $500,000. The 2000 chassis stage 1 complete, so we'll move that along. The 1999 chassis is ready to go into the wind tunnel, so let's hire a wind tunnel. Boom. And technology, it's probably going to take another round or 2 before we get that extra reliability point onto the car. But, we're moving in the right direction. I'm not sure if now's the time to deploy the traction control system. We do have very, very high wear across the 3 cars that we need to have running. Maybe it's better to deal with that first. Again, throw that in the comments below. This is exactly the kind of question that I should be finishing the episode on. Likewise, what's your feeling, guys, regarding tyres? Bridgestone, things are going very, very slowly. I think we could probably squeeze out a partner deal, but maybe Goodyear are friendlier towards us. I think we'll probably all be in agreement that the works deal with Ferrari is too close. It's too close. We could still be pipped to it. There might be 2 work supplies, but maybe 2 teams beat us to the punch, and then we've already secured a partner deal we can fall back on. How would you guys feel about that? Do we take the partner deal if necessary, or do we try and secure a works deal from Ford or Peugeot? Also, this is a one-season deal, so something I'd like to get you thinking about early is, works deals have proved very elusive for us, and maybe we don't get one this season. So looking up and down the engine suppliers at the moment, and unfortunately Toyota nor Renault seem likely to enter the sport. How are you feeling? Are you quite happy with Mugen Honda? Would you go back to them? Do you think Ford's R&D spending outweighs the financial benefit that they could bring to the team? Mecachrome make a good engine, but you have to pay for it. This is all open for discussion. The fuel issue we've already talked about. The cash sponsors seem to be going very, very slowly, but if we got both of those, or even one of those, it is the same as signing 4 or 5 tier 1 sponsors, so that is something that could eventually pay off. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll try today or tomorrow to get up not just more episodes of this, but that video of F1 Manager, and you guys can give me your feedback as to whether you'd like to do a run through of it. Thank you very, very much for watching. I'm sorry if this episode seems a bit scatterbrained and it's not up to the usual standard. I'm still not feeling great, and I feel like I'm messing up my words a lot more than usual, and I mess them up a lot. So yeah, I apologise in advance if this has been a bit of a crappy episode, but I think we'll be back on stream tomorrow. And I hope you have a good Tuesday evening. It is Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah, it is.